fine folks at home. Okay, everybody, let's talk about some Excel. We're going to start doing Excel this 6 weeks. Well, 6 weeks, 9 weeks, new semester, whatever. We are going to go ahead and get started with Excel. Now, what is Excel? You might be saying to yourself, I've never heard of this Excel thing before. Is this just what I naturally do because I'm so awesome at everything? I'm already aware of that stuff, sir. No. Excel is what's called a spreadsheet program. Okay, a spreadsheet program is basically where you get the computer to do a lot of work for you with regards to math and stuff like that. All right, show of hands here. Who here likes to do math? Who here is in like algebra class and they love doing that stuff and it's like totally easy for them and they like figure out stuff in their heads and like all kinds of cool groovy stuff like that? Super good at math? Hey, you know, one time I figured out, like, you ever done a matrix? Like, okay, like in calculus and like pre-cal and stuff like that. I did one of those in my head one time for business class. Like my business math class in college, my teacher was like, yeah, okay, you got the right answer, but you know, you have to write it down and figure it out. I was like, man, come on. It's obvious that 3 widgets and 2 widgets. He didn't like that. Anyway, long story short, a lot of people do not like to do math. Okay, that is a plain and obvious thing from basic facts. Okay, a lot of people are not math heads. They don't see and visualize math in their brains very well. Can't keep track of numbers. They got to write them down and stuff like that. That is perfectly obvious and okay. Okay, there's a lot of people in this world like that. That's why programs like Excel exist. Okay, the deal is though, is that if you are not a person that likes to do math, if you learn how to do Excel, you can get Excel to do the math for you. Okay, now who here would like to have the computer do all the work for them and make everything happen, and like whenever you change a number, all of the things change for you and you don't have to do a single thing except change that one number? Does that sound like a much better plan? Yeah, I think so too. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you guys the screen now for you online people. Okay, so what I need everybody to do, and people in the classroom, go ahead and do this too. Get onto your desktop. Find this thing right here, this little green thing with a white X on it. If you have Excel at home, if you had Word, you probably have Excel. Find this little green thing with an X on it. Double click to open it up, or you could go to your side menu here and search down for your side menu stuff. You can find Microsoft Office Excel, okay, or just Excel, might just be called Excel. Okay, you can find it there as well. Anyway, get this open. You will probably end up with something like this, and also possibly having some templates and stuff, but just double click on this blank notebook here. Okay, you got a blank notebook now. All right. For the people who are not using Microsoft Excel because you do not have the program, you're going to have to go. The Google people call this the waffle. Go ahead and click on that little 9-dot thing right there. And then in your list of things, you probably have Sheets somewhere. Okay, click on Sheets. And that takes you to the Sheet General area. You click on the plus down there at the bottom right. Click on the plus, and you too will have this sheet. Now, notice down at the bottom, what does it say, people? On this little tab right here, it says sheet. Each one of these individual table structures, okay, and it goes on forever. If you like click your little scroll bars here, you can see that it just goes on and on and on and on. I got like eventually, if you go far enough, you can get to like 3-digit like letters, and like you can get down into like the hundreds of thousands of like rows. Okay, but each one of these table structures, okay, this is called a worksheet. Okay, this thing right here is a worksheet. You can have multiple sheets by clicking on the plus to get more sheets. Okay, now, what is this? What is this? Right, what's in a book? Otherwise known as sheets. Okay, worksheets. What are worksheets inside of? A workbook. Ha. See how that works? You have worksheets inside of your workbook. Therefore, Each file, each spreadsheet type of file. Notice at the top, everybody look. Notice at the top, what does it say? Book, that's right. Worksheets belong in a workbook. Okay, so worksheets belong in a workbook. Therefore, the file is a workbook. Okay, so worksheets are your individual sheets. Workbooks is the entire file compiling all of your worksheets. Now, this can be as complicated or as easy as you need it to be, okay? For example, I can make a quick little spreadsheet here. I can say pets is what we're talking about today. I can say dogs. I can say cats. I can say birds, okay? I can say total, because I'm going to total up all the number of pets. And I'm going to say, let's see, what kind of pets do the boys have? What kind of pets do the girls have? Let's say that the boys have 4 dogs, 2 of them have cats, and 1 of them's weird and has a bird. Okay, and the girls have 2 dogs, and the girls have 5 cats, and girls think birds are yucky, so none. All right, I have just created a chart that tells me the groupings of people who have pets and what kind of pets they have. That is a table. That is an easy thing to do. We did that a little bit in Word, but here's the thing. In Word, most of the time, you are just putting this information together. In Excel, you can do stuff with this information. For example, see this funky looking E character right here? That if you know anything about like math or Greek stuff, you know that this is actually called a sigma. Okay, I hit that, and that tells the computer that I want to add these things up. And it figures out, oh, well, there's some numbers over here to the side. You probably want me to add those numbers up, don't you? Okay, Excel is a program that tries to help you out with the math, trying to figure out what you want to have added up, and automatically does it. Okay, now creating charts is easy. Putting together colorful charts that actually mean stuff and can do things. Quick little jots of information here and there, made up in a certain way. Very informative. Okay. Very informative little chart here. All right, see? Quick and easy. Nice informative little chart with all kinds of good handy little numbers. Okay. What about, oh, that's right. There was 3 girls who were absent yesterday because they went to cheerleading practice, and I talked to them, and they are actually dog lovers, all 3 of them. So I'm going to update that. There was 2. Now there's 5 girls with dogs. Oh, look at that. The total number of dogs went up, and the total number of pets that belong to girls went up. That happened automatically. I didn't have to do anything for it. I just redid this number, and all of the things related to that are changed. Now, Brianna's probably sitting there going, sir, I could have easily done that myself. I could have easily done those totals, adding 3 to each of those numbers. Big freaking whoop. Let me tell you, back when I was not a teacher, before I was a teacher, but after I got out of the Navy, I was working for this chemical company, okay? And we made chemicals for other companies, okay? Like, for example, guys, your Lotrimin, your foot cream for when you're at football practice, you got the toe fungus. Okay, they make a lot of foot fungus cream in September, in August, in October. What season is that? Football season, right? Do you think they have a lot of foot cream problems in like January? Yeah, because basketball guys are all right. Do you think they have a lot of problems in like April? Nah, those track guys take care of themselves. But those football guys in the state of Texas, boy, they get some athlete's foot. Because everybody's all showering. There's like 100 guys all trying to use the shower. Some of them forget their flip-flops. Ew, gross. So my company, the one that I used to work for, we used to make chemicals for people who didn't want to build a whole factory to just have like 3 months worth of production. Okay? They would come to us and they would say, hey, why don't you make this stuff for us, and then we don't have to buy a whole new factory to handle our load during the September months. Now, we were like, yeah, sure. Pay us a certain amount of money. How do we come up with that number? Excel spreadsheet. We literally had an Excel spreadsheet that had 54 of these sheet tabs. They had 54 sheet tabs with individual, like they were like long. They had like a lot of calculations to them sometimes. There was one for the packaging of all the products, like the bottles and tubes that we had to buy. There was a page for the chemicals that we had to buy. There was a page for the production area that they were going to be using, which batch area, which big tank were they going to be using. There was a page for labor costs, that like for how much we're going to have to pay the people to make these things. There was a page for we had this thing for like FDA processes. Like we had to go to the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and they had to approve of us making these chemicals safely. You know, that costs money because you got to write up some paperwork, and you got to have this guy who's like a real smart guy who knows how to do all the paperwork and calls the FDA and like sets up everything and gets the tours and all that junk. Okay, that guy was expensive. You know, like he knew all of the FDA laws for like food and drug stuff, so he was expensive. Okay, we're not paying for that. The other company's paying for. Okay, we had all these guys doing all these processes. We had 54 sheets, and these sheets would build into each other. Like the chemicals, the packaging, and the labor costs, that would go into like materials or whatever. And it's like there would be a material cost. There would be a page that figured out material costs, and then there would be another page that figured out all the regulation stuff, putting together all the regulation stuff that we had to do. And then eventually all of those costs would be like heading towards page 1, which just totaled up each individual cost and told the company, you know, here's how much we pay. Here's how much you're going to pay. And we printed up page 1. Do you know why? Because all the other pages had all of our markups on there. Like we didn't just buy the chemicals. We like bought the chemicals for the prices, and then we tacked on another 25% on top of that because, hey, we got to take the time to do this. We got to pay our people. So we're going to charge you a little bit of extra for making our people do work. Now, if your customer knows that percentage margin, they can actually talk you out of it. You know, they're like, I'm not going to pay you 25% for that. No, we're just going to pay 10%. Oh, you're cutting in my margin now, dude. It's like you're making it not profitable for me to go to work anymore. So we don't tell them our percentages. We just tell them their costs at the end. And so they would look over the cost at the end, and they would look at that bottom line figure at the bottom. Hey, you want 10 million units of Lotrimin sent out? That's going to cost you $5,428,000. Ding. We good? And they'd have their piece of paper. They'd sign it off. They'd send it back to us, and we'd start getting to work making foot cream for them. Okay? So 54 pages worth of this stuff. Now, could you imagine keeping track of all of the connections from 54 different sheets of paper where you're doing calculations? Do you remember that this one here goes into that one there, and that price goes into this other sheet, and you have to make like at least 10% off of the sheet of the, like, every time you changed a number, like 16 different things would change. One single number changes, 16 other little cells change too. Sometimes because certain cells change, that one changes this one changes that one changes this one. Do you want to keep track of all that? I got 2 words for you. Heck no. Okay, you get an Excel spreadsheet to handle that stuff. The Excel spreadsheet keeps track of all the connections, where all the numbers go, what they're all invested in, like what do they do here and there. The Excel spreadsheet keeps track of all of that stuff, okay? So let's talk about what exactly is in this little Excel spreadsheet kind of thing, this little Google Sheets thing. All right, first off, like we said, workbook is the whole thing. Worksheet is the individual page, okay? Worksheet is the individual page. Now, what are these little boxes called? I call them boxes all the time. That's not actually the technical term for them. The technical term for each one of these little things is called the cell. Okay, each one of these little boxes is called a cell. No matter what it holds, no matter what it does, it's a cell. Now, these cells can actually have way more than what you see here. Okay, for example, this cell says 7. But what is it really saying? It says a formula. It says a formula that tells it to do something, and the answer to that is 7. Okay? So each cell may have a lot of information to it that leads to an answer, or it just might have like a bunch of information. Whatever it is, however much information, blah, blah, you put in there, each cell is self-contained. It has the information that it has. Okay? For example, if I take this and I copy it and I put it here, okay? Each cell has its own information. Okay? Just because you can see information in a different cell doesn't mean that there's anything in that cell. All of this stuff that you see right here, is actually all contained in this B1 cell. And if you want to see why I know that, watch this. I'm going to type something into C1 here. Cut it off. It's like, if there's nothing there, it's like, fine, sure, no problem. We can just go ahead and have that be something. Hey, what's going on? What is going on here? Okay, if there's nothing in its way, it'll go ahead and display all of its information across the rows. But if there's, as soon as there's something else in there, cuts it off. Okay, each cell is an individual cell. It contains all of the information that you type into this formula bar here. Okay, each one. But so that's that. Okay, each one is now. What we're looking at though, when we look at these things, like this one says sum C5 to E5. Okay, that's what this says, sum C5 to E5. And you're like, C5? What the heck is C5? I don't see anything here that says C. Do you see anything here that says C5, Pedro? Nothing, right? Did I type in C5 anywhere in here? No. So what's this thing talking about, C5 to E5? Well, simple and easy. Every one of these little boxes has an address. Okay? The address is made up of the column, letter, and the row number. Okay? All these things on the side here, they are rows. Rows of information. This is row 5. If I look in column C, row 5, that is cell C5. Now, if I go here and I say equals, which means go get and do math, find C5, it's going to give me whatever is in C5. What if I change what's in C5? It changes. Okay? So, C5 is the address. C5 is the address of where C column meets row 5, and that's what is in that's what this box is called. The cell is called C5. That's called a cell address. Okay? All right, now, quick and easy. These cells basically allow you to call up stuff without actually calling up a number. For example, I say sum up. You guys know what sum means because you've been in math class. Sum means add stuff up, right? So I say sum everything from C4 to E4 in this box, okay? And that means C4 all the way to E4, okay? Sum up everything from C4 to E4, okay? And that gives me an answer. Now, Brandon, look over here, pay attention. Everybody pay attention to me right now. Very strong words right here. Pay attention. You see how this thing says 7? And this one says 15. This one says 1, 7, 14. Okay? Those are answers. All right? They are answers to the formula that I've given it to do math. When you see the equal sign, that means it's math time. And Excel gets all excited like your math teacher does. It's like, ooh, fun. Okay? It's not just putting information out there. I typed in 4 right here. 4 is what shows up on the screen. I typed in a formula here, though. I typed in a formula here. That means it has to do math and then give me an answer. Now, pay attention to this. I am going to give you assignments, and occasionally I'm going to give you a picture of what the assignment should look like at the end of the day. If that happens, if you see an Excel spreadsheet end product, know this. Do not just copy that picture. Okay? Because you are going to have stuff like this total column, and you're going to type in a 7, and you're going to type in a 15, and you are going to get 0 points for that. Excel and knowing about Excel is all about how to get Excel to do the math for you. If you are adding stuff up and doing the math yourself, what's the point? You might as well be doing it in Word, right? Don't do that. Use Excel to do the math for you, okay? Use Excel to do the math for you by creating the formulas, the equations that will give you the answers that you need, okay? And trust me when I say this, okay? Trust me when I say this. I know all of the things that are in here. I know how to make the thing show me whether or not you put in answers or whether or not you put in formulas. It is not hard at all. Okay? It's not hard at all. See, with a quick click of my keyboard, it now shows me the formulas instead of the answers. Okay? Do not try and trick me into thinking that you did this thing correctly by just putting in the answers instead of the formulas that give you that answer. You might as well leave it blank. Okay? I am smart. I know how Excel works. I can quickly check and see whether or not you did formulas. You might as well not even try and fool me. Just go ahead and put a blank there. Save yourself the time and effort, because I will figure out whether or not you did the formulas, and I will give you no points if you just try and type in the answers instead of giving me the formulas that I need. Okay? You have to know how to do the formulas. That is the point of Excel. If you don't do the formulas, it's not very useful to you. Okay? Having to do all these answers yourself is kind of stupid and lame if you're going to do it in Excel. Okay? So that's the big picture. Tables, we create them in Excel. We get it to do the math for us by using formulas. Okay? And we get Excel to do our work for us, because that is way better than having to do the work ourselves. Okay? That is the whole shebang there. All right, folks? So, oh yeah. Also, Excel can be used to do other things like tracking things. Like this is my spreadsheet of information for keeping track of attendance. I use Excel to do that. I created the whole thing in Excel. I actually have a program that all these dates that you see up at the top here, I actually have it to where it's it goes off of one date and then it adds one day, and then the next day I add 2, and then the next day I add 3, and the next day I add 4, and then the next week I add 3 to the one before it, because there's the weekend. There's Saturday and Sunday and that day. Okay? If you know the tricks to Excel, you can make these things happen quickly. Okay? I use that Excel spreadsheet to type in one date, and then the entire spreadsheet fills out all those dates for me. Okay? I actually got it to do it both ways. So it's right here, you can't see it, but it's I typed in one date, and all of these dates figure out themselves accordingly. This one also looks at that and says, oh, new date. I'm going to do myself. And then all of these are oh, new date. We're going to do this one. Okay? All of those things figure themselves out. And I only had to type in one thing to get everything to change. Okay? Saves me a lot of time and effort. All right, now, that is it basically. We are going to do vocabulary. Starting on page 351 in the book. Page 351 in the book. And I recommend everybody use Google Docs for this, because you might not have Word at home unless you're a 5-day-a-week student here at school. You should probably use Google Docs and have this saved in thing. Okay, on page 351 in the book, starting on lesson 1, going all the way through lesson 5. Now, it's a big assignment. There are 49 definitions. 49. Okay? Look on the side of the book on page 351. There's a little orange thing that says words to know. Okay? On the side of the book, there is a little thing that says words to know. Okay? It says active cell, and then it's got a definition for active cell. So what you're going to do is, okay, you're going to go to the waffle. You're going to go down to docs. You're going to make a new doc, and you're going to say, nice and centered, okay? You're going to center it up. You're going to say, Excel lesson 1 to 5 vocab. You're going to press enter. You're going to go back to the left. And you're going to use your bullet points with numbering, a numbered list. And you're going to say active cell, space dash space. And then you can say the active cell is the current cell. there is a green border around the active cell. Okay? Press enter, go to the next one, the backstage view. Space dash space, type in the definition of that. Okay? That's going to be today and tomorrow. We're going to use today and tomorrow to do all of this vocabulary. 49 words. Okay, if you're Isabella, if you are not going to be here tomorrow and you need to do this, I would recommend doing it in Google Docs so that it's on your classroom and you can transfer it. But if you're going to be here 5 days a week, you guys can use Word because you're going to be here and you're going to have it available to you. Unless, of course, you want to do it at home too. Then I would do it in Google Docs so you can have it at home too. Like you want to do homework. All right, that's the plan, folks. Get into your book. 351 is where it starts. Okay, now, let me show you something real quick. I'm going to pull up the textbook really quick, so just a second. It's weird. I have a textbook right in front of me. You know what? Heck with it. I'm not going to pull it up. Okay, so you see in the textbook, here's where you're going to find the definitions. Now, be aware. Everybody look at this real quick in the classroom. Everybody look at this. When you flip the page, there's some on this page too. Okay? Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go, once you're done with all the ones from lesson 1, you're going to flip until you get to lesson 2. And then there's some definitions on the side of lesson 2. And then flip. This is the teacher book. That's why it doesn't look like yours. All right. More words here for lesson 3. Flip to lesson 4. Flip to lesson 5. Okay. 49 words. Type up those definitions. This will be a graded assignment worth points. All right. So that is the plan. Go. All right, so that is it. I will go ahead and talk to you guys later. That should be enough for the recording. Let's go ahead and stop recording. We got 5 minutes left for class, so everybody just work.